Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother and sister, welcome back to Islamic Notes channel. The life journey of a beautiful American journalist who finally decided to embrace Islam after going through a long spiritual search. In this story, we will explore her origins, her life background before embracing Islam, the challenges she faced, and the spiritual process that led her to this big decision. Origin before converting to Islam. Sarah Williams was born into a family located in Europe or possibly West Asia. Most information about her family background and childhood life is not widely known by historians. However, it can be assumed that she was raised in a tradition or religion that was different from the teachings of Islam. Sarah Williams, who was born in Chicago, grew up in a non-religious family. Her parents, although from different backgrounds, her father was of Irish descent and her mother was of Jewish descent, never practiced religion seriously. The house where Sarah was raised emphasized education and career more than spiritual or religious values. As a child, Sarah was better known for her interest in journalism. Since childhood, she always read newspapers, watched the news, and was inspired by famous journalists in the world. Her father was a history professor, while her mother was a graphic designer. Although her family was not religious, Sarah felt that a good education and understanding of history were important things in her life. Sarah Williams is a name known in history as a woman who was involved in important events in the history of Islam, although she is not a major figure in the history of Islam. Before entering Islam, Sarah was a woman from a non-Muslim background, with a life journey full of twists and turns and major changes in her outlook on life. At that time, the world was very geographically divided, and the teachings of major religions such as Christianity, Judaism, and various other beliefs dominated people's lives. As a young woman in a society full of traditional norms and customs, Sarah Williams was probably used to the beliefs that existed at that time. She lived in a world that had different views about God, the afterlife, and how to live a moral life. Sarah grew up in the midst of a social life full of challenges and limited knowledge about other religions. As an individual searching for meaning and purpose in life, she was probably exposed to ideas that were not only limited to the teachings of a particular religion, but also to broader philosophies and worldviews. Sarah Williams' early journalism career. Sarah Williams was born in a small town, far from the center of journalism, but had a great curiosity about the world around her. Since childhood, Sarah has shown a great interest in the world of writing. She often spent her time reading books about history, politics, and literature. However, her interest in the world of news began to develop when she became an adult. She felt that journalism was the most appropriate way to be able to dig up stories and voice the voices that are less heard in society. After graduating from high school, Sarah continued her education to college. She chose to major in journalism, even though many of her friends chose more conventional fields of study. However, Sarah believed that journalism was a field that allowed someone to continue learning and developing. In college, she not only learned about writing and editing techniques, but also about journalism ethics and the great responsibility that a journalist has. During college, Sarah was already active in campus media, writing articles for campus magazines and becoming a member of the editorial team. This experience opened her eyes to the challenges faced by journalists, such as time constraints, pressure to produce interesting news, and fierce competition. Here she began to understand the importance of having the courage to explore different perspectives and how the stories she tells can influence public opinion. First steps in the world of professional journalism. After completing her education, Sarah began her professional journalism career at a local newspaper. Initially, she was only given the task of writing light news and coverage of community events. However, even though the task seemed simple, Sarah saw this as a golden opportunity to learn and hone her skills. In every article she wrote, she always tried to provide added value, with in-depth research and a fresh perspective. At the newspaper, Sarah demonstrated her commitment to the quality of her writing. Not long after, her writing skills began to be recognized by her colleagues, and she was given the task of covering bigger news, such as political and social events that were currently being discussed. This was a very important starting point in Sarah Williams' career journey. Sarah also took every opportunity to learn from more experienced senior journalists. She often discussed with them about how to write effective news and how to cover major events with high objectivity. From their guidance, Sarah understood that journalists are not only tasked with reporting what happened, but also to dig up the truth behind every event reported. Achievements and recognition. After several years working for a local newspaper, Sarah felt she was ready for a bigger challenge. She then decided to join a larger national media organization, which gave her more room to develop her career. This is where Sarah began to gain wider recognition for her abilities. She covered a variety of important events, from political issues to in-depth investigative reporting. One of her greatest works was an investigative report on abuse of power at the government level that received great public attention. The article not only generated a lot of public discussion, but also led to significant policy changes. Sarah's career continued to grow as her reputation grew stronger. She was invited to appear on various television news programs and even speak at international conferences. She began to receive various journalism awards, including awards for Best Investigative Reporting and awards for high-impact social reporting. Commitment to quality journalism. Despite her many achievements, Sarah remains humble and committed to always maintaining integrity in her work. She believes that journalism should remain focused on seeking the truth and delivering accurate and balanced information. In every report, Sarah always tries to maintain objectivity and avoid spreading information that can divide society. In addition, Sarah is also very concerned with the development of digital journalism. Amid the rapid development of technology and the emergence of various social media platforms, she believes that journalists must be able to adapt and utilize technology to reach a wider audience. Sarah also often provides training to young journalists on the importance of verifying information and how to avoid spreading fake news. Although her life seems successful and full of achievements, Sarah feels there is an emptiness in her. The various stories she covers, especially those related to social conflict, poverty, and injustice, have left a deep impact on her heart. Sarah's work involving coverage of the war in the Middle East and religious issues exposed her to many different views on religion, life, and humanity. Various encounters with people from various religious backgrounds, including Muslims, made Sarah curious about these religions, especially Islam. Spiritual search. On one occasion, Sarah was invited to cover an event at a large mosque in New York City held in solidarity after the September 11th attacks. This was the first time she had actually been inside a mosque and spoken to Muslims directly. From that meeting, Sarah felt something was different. She was impressed by the calm and peace that was in the mosque, as well as the friendliness and respect shown by the Muslims. After that event, Sarah began visiting mosques in various cities, speaking with imams and Muslims, and reading many books about Islam. She began to feel interested in Islamic teachings about social justice, balance in life, and sincerity in worship. One of the most memorable encounters for her was when she spoke with a Palestinian Muslim woman who told her about her life journey, the challenges she faced as a Muslim woman in America, and how her Islamic faith gave her strength to face all obstacles. This story opened Sarah's eyes that Islam is not a religion that teaches violence or hatred, as is often portrayed by the media. Instead, Islam teaches about compassion, forgiveness, and caring for others. Over the next few months, Sarah continued to seek more information about Islam and visited various mosques. She began reading the Quran, and she felt that the verses in this holy book spoke directly to her. She felt that the messages of patience, wisdom, and justice were very relevant to what she faced in her daily life. Encounter with Islam. Sarah's spiritual journey changed drastically when she encountered the teachings of Islam. Islam at that time was starting to spread to various corners of the world, mainly through trade, travel, and interaction between nations. It was at that time that Sarah first heard about Islam and became interested in learning more about it. According to several sources, Sarah was attracted to the basic values taught in Islam, such as deep monotheism and teachings about peace, justice, and compassion. The concept of Allah as the one God and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ as the bringer of revelation aroused her curiosity. Not only that, the social teachings of Islam that emphasize the importance of charity, equality, and devotion to God impressed Sarah, who at that time was searching for inner peace. In addition, Meeting a friendly and loving Muslim community influenced her views. Many of them showed exemplary lives that reflected Islamic values in real life and everyday life. This further opened Sarah's heart to study Islam more deeply. Personal life changes. After several years of this spiritual journey, Sarah began to feel that she had found the right path. In 2010, she made the big decision to convert to Islam. This decision did not come easily, considering that she was already widely known as a journalist and public figure in America. The process of converting to Islam. After going through various processes of self-discovery, as well as studying the teachings of Islam more deeply, Sarah Williams finally decided to convert to Islam. The process of converting to Islam was not always easy, especially for a woman who came from a non-Muslim background. However, Sarah felt that Islam gave her the answers she had been looking for about the purpose of life and how to live correctly according to God's perspective. One day, Sarah confidently recited the Shahada, declaring her faith that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. This process was a major turning point in her life, which not only changed her view of God, but also the way she saw the world around her. However, after much reflection and prayer, she decided to pronounce the Shahada, the declaration of faith in Islam, which was the first step in her journey as a Muslim woman. Converting to Islam did not mean that Sarah's life was immediately without challenges. As a young woman known in the world of journalism and with her public status, Sarah faced negative comments and views from many people. Some of her friends and colleagues advised her not to take the step, fearing that she would lose her popularity and professional credibility. However, Sarah felt that her Islamic faith gave her a peace and satisfaction far greater than any worldly success she had previously achieved. Impact of change in Sarah's life. After embracing Islam, Sarah's life changed significantly. She felt she had found inner peace that she had never felt before. She experienced many changes, both in her personal, social, and spiritual life. In her social life, Sarah often interacts with other Muslim communities who give her support and a strong sense of brotherhood. Her social life, which used to be separate from the beliefs she now adheres to, now becomes more meaningful. She began to live a simpler and more meaningful life, where every action is oriented towards charity and goodness. However, Sarah also faces new challenges. Converting to Islam is not always easily accepted by those around her. Her friends may not understand the big changes in her life, and Sarah's family may feel confused or even oppose the decision. However, with determination and strong faith, Sarah continues to follow the teachings of Islam, despite facing these challenges. The process of integrating Islam into daily life. After embracing Islam, Sarah began to live a new life that is simpler and more focused on spirituality. She began to learn more about Islamic practices such as prayer, fasting, and zakat. She also decided to wear the hijab, even though she realized that this decision would make her more visible to the public. However, Sarah did not feel pressured. Instead, she felt that the hijab was a symbol of freedom and independence. For Sarah, the hijab was not a burden, but a way to protect herself and show her identity as a Muslim woman. This decision was also a form of statement that she no longer wanted to be seen solely based on her appearance, but also based on the values she held. As a journalist, Sarah not only continued to work in the mainstream media, but she also began writing articles and books that raised issues about Islam and Muslims in America. She tried to portray Islam from a more balanced and objective perspective, away from the stereotypes that often appear in the media. Through her writings, Sarah wanted to show the world that Islam is a peaceful and compassionate religion, and that Muslims, especially women, have the right to be respected and treated fairly. Personal life changes. Sarah's personal life has also undergone many changes. As a well-known journalist, she has had to deal with curiosity from many people about her faith. Some close friends and family members supported her choices, but many were also concerned or even shocked. Sarah also had to adapt to a new Islamic worship routine, including praying 5 times a day and fasting during the month of Ramadan. She has said on many occasions that living a Muslim life has given her the inner peace she has been looking for. However, it has also brought its own challenges, especially when she has to do interviews or travel long distances that require special attention to prayer times. Sarah's social life as a Muslim has also changed. She has become actively involved in dawah activities and educating the public about Islam. Many opportunities to speak at various religious and cultural forums have allowed Sarah to share her personal experiences and build bridges of understanding between cultures and religions. This has given her the opportunity to be a moderate voice for many Muslims in America who feel marginalized after the tragedy of September 11th. Journalism as a means of advocacy and education. Sarah Williams's journey after converting to Islam was a profound transformation, both personally and professionally. She became not only a journalist who cares more about global issues involving Muslims, but also a Muslim who actively seeks to bridge understanding between cultures and religions. For Sarah, journalism is not just a job, but a means to educate the public and change the false narrative about Islam, proving that peace, justice, and compassion are universal values that can be accepted by all people, regardless of their religion and background. Although great challenges remain, both in her professional world and in her personal life, Sarah finds strength in her faith to continue to fight and speak the truth in a deeper and more meaningful way. The transformation that Sarah Williams experienced inspires many to look further, to not only judge based on assumptions and stereotypes, but to understand and learn with an open heart. Challenges and support. Although Sarah faced many challenges, she also received tremendous support from the Muslim community in America, both from fellow Muslim journalists and Muslims in various mosques. This support gave her the strength to keep going and continue to fight for the values she believed in. Sarah is also active in da'wah activities, attending seminars on Islam, and being a speaker at various events aimed at increasing understanding of Islam among non-Muslims. She wants the general public to know that Islam is a religion that teaches peace and tolerance. Conclusion. The journey of Sarah Williams, a beautiful American journalist who decided to embrace Islam, is a real example of a sincere spiritual search. She not only tried to understand Islam intellectually, but also integrated its teachings into her daily life. Sarah's journey shows that, although the challenges faced can be very difficult, the decision to follow the path of truth can bring true peace and happiness. Sarah's decision to embrace Islam was not the end of her journey, but rather the beginning of a new, meaningful journey. In a world of journalism filled with pressure and challenges, Sarah chose to be a voice that brings positive change and provides a deeper understanding of Islam to the world.